Is there a Quest Pro 2 or a Quest 4 coming at this MetaConnect in 2 months? Boss just dropped another AMA saying,
we're building multiple next generation headsets. Stay tuned for Connect and we'll have more to share then.
Hinting that there could be an announcement, and we've known for a while it's more likely a Quest Pro 2 style headset, something that competes with more of an Apple Vision Pro with either a cord or at least some kind of a puck that stays on your body and is probably much more expensive. A Quest 4 style headset still looks like it's next year or the year after. No final designs on that, but Snapdragon did just come out with a new Elite XR processor that could be in the works for those kinds of headsets. The biggest update yet to come to the top Quest 2 and Quest 3 VR fitness game has dropped. If you've been following the journey here, I've been doing FitXR for the last year now. I actually just got a report from my doctor that I've had the best blood pressure I've had in years, completely in the normal range and even a little bit low for someone my age. So as I've said before, it's really showing in my numbers, the scale, my blood work, everything is doing better in my life as a result. And I'm even lifting more than I ever have before now that I've gotten back to lifting also. But FitXR, like other fitness apps, for a long time, you like went in, you found a workout to do, you did it. And a lot of times I just do one a day, but they've added this new journey feature. So now it asks you, hey, how much do you really want to work out each day? How hard do you want to be working out? And then it tailors a path through this with daily setups that are multiple workouts if you want them to be, to then get you to do the amount of time or the intensity or the variety of workouts. And with that, they've added more new environments, the sound design, the graphical capability, they've upped it all. It looks really good. And basically they're just trying to make it really like a sustainable workout plan for you rather than just jumping in randomly looking through and trying to pick a workout. I think it's really cool. If you haven't joined me already, I know a ton of you have. There's a bunch of you. I'm competing with you on the leaderboards every day. I just did a 1v1 challenge that ended up lasting 2 days against Viking Princess because we were both so close. But if you haven't joined me already, code JBRFreebie gets you in. That's JAYBRFREEBIE. Gets you in and working out with us. And if you follow me, I follow everybody back, then you can even see my workouts in real time. You can compete with me in the room. If you've been on the fence for a while, it's not too late to start. Get in with me, and it's doing wonders for me, and I'd love to hear from you out there if you've done it too now. The new Snapdragon XR Elite processor is a processor built specifically for the future of VR, AR, XR glasses. And if that name isn't familiar to you, the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 processor is what powers the Quest 3. And so this new one is basically an XR2 Gen 3, but they're changing the name completely to reflect more what they're doing. Now this next part gets a little technical, so stick with me or jump to the next chapter if you want to talk more about what the Quest Pro 2 or the Quest 4 might look like. But basically, the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S both use the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2. They did drop a plus version of that, the XR2 Plus Gen 2. So now this new one that is the Gen 3, aka Snapdragon Reality Elite, has 60% greater GPU performance than the XR2 Plus, one that was in that Samsung XR headset that we tried. It's got 30% better CPU performance, 160% greater NPU, basically for machine learning tasks, better camera pass-through, 10% lower latency, 33% less power draw, support for more RAM, more USB ports, and really what all this means is a better processor that uses less power. And with the whole industry shifting heavily towards AI glasses, smart glasses, this just means better graphics, better functioning, and less power use, which is the biggest problem right now in the whole space, is battery life. We'll keep you posted on this and what it could mean for the future of a Quest 4. The tricky thing when we talk about the future of the Quest and VR is a Quest 4 or a Quest Pro 2, the names aren't final until the headsets are about to launch. They often go by code names like the Puffin. And we even showed you that video a while back where we got to try some prototype headsets. Whether or not those are any version of the final one that's going to come out, we don't know. But usually the research that goes into those prototypes does end up affecting the final product. But what we have known, or at least known with some certainty for years now, is there is supposed to be a new headset coming out this year. Something that if it followed the usual patterns of Meta, we'll see leaks leading up to Connect this year. They'll announce it finally at Connect and open pre-orders to then arrive the next month. But not something necessarily a Quest 4-like headset, because they are talking more about a new headset that would be wired or at least have a puck that stays on your body. And this would be more similar to that Samsung Galaxy XR headset we showed you that was made to be an Apple Pro competitor, but at half the price of the Apple Vision Pro. This possibly on par with a much less powerful version probably of that Boba that we did try in person, that was still a wired headset with that ultra wide field of view, but that really crisp mixed reality, something that would keep Meta still in the realm of what everyone's calling spatial computing, but not necessarily the Quest 4, which has now been said it could be 2027 or even 2028 before we get another fully wireless headset that would be a generational leap from the 3 and the 3S. More likely with this new version of the Snapdragon processor that just came out, and hopefully in that $500 price range or less. Quinn just texted me while I'm in the middle of recording. How annoying. So what we're expecting the most at Connect this year would probably be more AI talk, more glasses talk, probably talks about the success or the flop that the Ray-Ban displays were that we also showed you that video of trying, and whether screens being in glasses right now will be the future, or if these other smart glasses, because they're so much cheaper and they're functional and more people are using them, are really the future that we're looking for right now. Keep in mind that everything based on Quest Pro 2, Quest 4 is information coming from leaks, known leakers, but also of course the journalistic community, which although they've been really right in the past about Meta's moves, could still change. So it's possible we may only see glasses, and maybe they'll at least give us a preview as to what headsets are coming and when. So keep that in mind. I was actually just at an eye doctor wearing my Ray-Bans, and they were talking about how they met with the Luxottica rep, EssilorLuxottica company that behind the Ray-Bans and practically every other glasses on the planet. And they said that they believe in the next few years, every pair of glasses will have some kind of tech built into them, which is a lofty goal. But as the doctor even said, you know, people used to think that nobody would want their watches to be something that had to be charged and have technology in them. And here we are. Most of us wear some sort of band or some sort of watch, and rings are popping up. At some point, you're basically at the end of the day going to take everything off your body you had on and put it on a charger, it seems like. What do you think about that? At least one headset that seems guaranteed to launch soon is the Steam Frame. Steam VR even got an update now, and the store page even now shows games that are great on Frame. The Steam Frame, if you somehow are out of the loop, a headset from Steam, a successor to the Valve Index from 7 years ago now, but a wireless PCVR headset that is supposedly going to be able to play games standalone on it, kind of similar to what we've seen with the Steam Deck. You can play your PC games on it without being at your PC, but there will also be a dongle so you can play in maximum resolution, frame rates, and everything if you're within range of your gaming PC, but take your library on the go and not necessarily need a gaming PC to do VR anymore. Although we personally still haven't gotten to try out the Steam Frame, many reviewers and publications have, and it seems like the launch has to be imminent, with sadly it's Bradley confirming the stock of them have made it to the US. Multiple people have tried these. We just still don't quite have a date, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they held out and launched it during Meta Connect. We talked about Horizon Plus for a long time on the channel. That is Meta's subscription service that gives you a couple new VR games every month. In the beginning, I said not worth it whatsoever. Later on, for people who got new headsets, didn't have an old library and catalog like we did, and then Meta added a whole new catalog of their own older games that you always get access to if you subscribe. Started to become more worth it, and now Xbox Game Pass is also being included, although it is a starter edition of the Xbox Game Pass, but they are going to get gamepad emulation out there so that you can even just use the Quest touch controls. You don't necessarily need an Xbox controller anymore, and you will be able to play games from the Xbox Game Pass completely on your Quest. One more reason to consider Horizon Plus if you haven't. I've had it for a while now, although I still have so many games already on Quest. I don't always get to redeem the free games, but the big drawback is if you do get rid of Horizon Plus, just like PSN or Game Pass, you lose access to those games that you got during it. So it kind of locks you into another subscription. And as we all know, we don't want any more subscriptions these days. Discord was supposed to come to Quest forever ago, and officially it has happened. It actually happened this last month. If you don't already have it or you had the subscription, you can get some free Nitro if you sign up on your Quest between now and the end of September, bringing another good option to the Quest for how to communicate. You know, if you've been with us all these years, Oculus and calls, and then it switched to Meta or Facebook. And the one thing on the Quest that has always really struggled is game chat, whether you try and use in-game and it's reliable or unreliable, or if you're using the call system, it's always kind of a nightmare. Hopefully now Discord on Quest is making that way easier. I haven't gotten it on mine yet and tried it out, but if you have, let me know in the comments how it's going. Is it worth it? Do you feel like it's better having it on there, or are you still just used to the Meta, Oculus, whatever the heck ecosystem we call it now for calling each other? All of you out there always telling me you want whatever's going to look the best on your Quest. What is going to be the most impressive, best graphics? We talked about Photon a couple times now, and those of you who have gone tried it have said Photon on Quest 3 is incredible. Working 360 said. Tomswood78, I love Photon. I watch these little 3D videos for hours. I'm going to start trying to upload some myself. Mythos Ohio, Photon XR is actually pretty cool. I thought it would just be a lamer version of YouTube, but no so. They seem to be serving up videos at a much higher bitrate and possibly full HDR. Whatever they're doing works. They're crisper, more immersive, immersive than their YouTube counterparts. Inceptional said they used Photon to immediately turn the last couple trailers for the Super Mario Galaxy movie into stereoscopic 3D, and it is rather awesome. They still can't believe there's a totally easy first-party way to watch the Super Bros. Movie in the highest possible resolution stereoscopic 3D on my Quest 3. It's still a totally free app on the Quest, and now they've done updates with extended video conversion limits when it was 1 minute to 3 minutes, and now even up to 10 minutes long. VR 180 support, I got back in, I was swiping through, and some of the 180 VR 80 looks so good. Seriously, this is what I use to show people videos now. They've added a YouTube-style discovery page so that people can browse along seamlessly, a creator incentive program to help incentivize people uploading more high-quality stuff to the platform, and they even enhanced the visual clarity, so now the 3D videos, like I said, especially the 180 ones, they say it's the sharpest spatial video experience available, and it looks it when you get in there. Totally free to get on your Quest and check out all the content that's up there, and I'll leave links down below if you do want to check out their other services and start uploading your own content too. But if this is the third time now you've heard me talk about it, you haven't tried it yet, just go try it at least, and then comment what you think. If you're still playing Beat Saber in 2026, like so many people on PSVR too, it's still actually like the top most downloaded game over there. They keep dropping new tracks, exciting surprises. Zombie song by Youngblood just dropped. And if you haven't seen the music video to that, we can't obviously play any of the music or show any of the music video here, but I would highly recommend watching the music video. It's actually really good. But there's been a lot of drops lately on Beat Saber if you're behind on them, although of course they are expensive to constantly buy their DLCs. Although that is, as we talked about Horizon Plus earlier, you do get the base game of Beat Saber now on Horizon Plus, but then you're still buying all of the DLCs if you want them. But if somehow you still haven't played Beat Saber after all these years, that is like the original classic of VR, still one of its biggest games by far, probably still the game I've spent the most time playing in ever. I'll never forget all of those mornings when we did the 10 straight days in VR, 10 days and nights. If you don't remember that, that was at 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Every morning I'd get in and play multiplayer sessions with all of you out there playing Beat Saber for my fitness for the day to keep me moving, since I was stuck in one room in a headset for 10 straight days. If you somehow missed that video, I'll leave a link down below too. The dream of getting people into your own home to play with you in VR is becoming more and more real, with things like Virtual Go letting you use mixed reality and then someone far away feels like they're moving around in the space that you are in, converting it to VR. We've seen some wild case uses of this, like in Hauntify, that turns your own home into a horror house, but now the idea of this could bring other people into that home with you, and you literally could do a haunted house party in your own house with people remotely across the world in VR. The future is here. Subscription is a dirty word we are all really sick of hearing, yet companies keep making new ones for new reasons, and Meta is adding some now. If you've been using the Meta Ray-Bans for a while, they're smart glasses like I have been, you've been able to enjoy pretty much everything that they can do just by buying the glasses, which are several $100s, but now they are going to be offering a Meta One Plus and a Meta One Premium. The naming of subscriptions is just wild to me. You might have already noticed some things changing if you use the Meta AI app that you have to have with the glasses. Some things like even AI enhancing photos had already been limited per day. But one of the big surprises is conversation focus, an accessibility feature that can amplify the person's voice in front of you for people who are having hearing troubles. Started rolling out back in January and was a big focus of the Ray-Ban glasses. Will now be paywalled. You'll have up to 3 hours for non-subscribers or 15 hours with Meta One Premium. For now, at least, you can still pretty much listen to unlimited music, use your glasses, headphones, all that stuff, but it's a lot of the AI stuff that's getting behind the paywall. But what do you think? If you bought the glasses, should you have to pay to use AI? Should you just pay for the subscription? It should come with the glasses. I'd love to know in the comments. Lots going on in the Quest realm. We're kind of waiting on Connect, hopefully for any big announcements. If you missed it, we do have another Quest 3 giveaway going on, but I'm leaving that to the end of the video here, announcing a little bit less. I really want some of the core people who hang out with us all the way through, someone to win that one. And then I'm in talks with a couple companies trying to give away more. A lot of them want to give away 3Ss during the holidays, which I know you guys get less excited about because a lot of people still have the 2s, or you've upgraded to a 3S because of the price point, but you really want the 3 for that premium experience with those pancake lenses. So check that link down below. Other ones, I'll leave some of the videos from this one in case you missed those, where we tried like the Meta prototypes or the Samsung glasses and all the other stuff. But more than anything, thank you so much. 7 years now we've been here together on YouTube, gotten our play button here, 114, almost 115,000 subscribers. So thank you to all of you, and I'll see you in another reality.